Hello guys, welcome back to another video. My name's Hamza. I am a 6th-year dentist at Plovdiv Medical University in Bulgaria, and I'm here today with...
Hi, my name is Husainah. I'm a 6th-year medical student here at Riga Stradins University in Riga.
So I've flown out from Bulgaria to Riga to meet Husainah. We're going to discuss the difference between the universities, the cities, the similarities of the cities. We're going to talk about finances, and we're also going to talk about the application process. And a bunch of other stuff as well. So yeah, let's get into it.
Let's start.
So tell me about the application process in Riga. How does that whole procedure work?
Yeah, so for application process in Riga, it's pretty straightforward. You have to send in a bunch of documents, including your high school grades, and then also include, identity documentation and things like that. And then you also add a personal statement, or as they call it here, a motivation letter, where you basically write down why you think you're fit for the university, why you want to study medicine and things like that, because it is a commitment. So you just have to lay that all forward. And then if you meet all the requirements, then they basically look through it and invite you back for an interview. So then you have a one-on-one interview with one of the staff from the administration team, and if it goes well, then you're basically good to go. You're set to start your medical studies, basically.
Oh, so you guys don't have any entrance exam?
No, actually, that's like the good thing about Riga. Like, we don't have any entrance exam.
Interesting, because we actually have to take an entrance exam.
Oh, really?
Yes. So the way the procedure works in applying to Plovdiv is that first and foremost, you have to hand in the certain documents, including your certificates from your high school, etc., passport copies, and a bunch of other documents that you have to hand into the university. You also need to book your entrance exam. The entrance exam is mainly based on biology, chemistry, so it's something that you've already covered. It's not that hard of an exam either, as long as you study for it, obviously. So when it comes to the exam, they tend to have an exam between April, May, June, July. You can choose any of the dates. They also have the advantage about Plovdiv is that you can sit the exam twice, and they take into account the highest score out of the two. So you could have one of your high score in biology in the first sitting, but then from the second sitting is your chemistry high score. Right. So they take into that account.
Wow, that's cool.
And they release a ranking system around September time. Okay. And that's when you'll know whether you got a place or not. So in the ranking system, they rank you against all the other applicants. And a lot of emphasis is given into your entrance exam score. So they combine that with the results that you achieve in your A-levels or your high school in biology, chemistry, along with the entrance exam score. They combine it and they release a ranking system, and then that's when you'll know that you've got a place at the university. So that's the procedure of how it goes in Bulgaria and Plovdiv.
So it's a little bit more of a rocky road, but it's still manageable. Yeah. It's still manageable. I mean, you made it. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
So now that we talked about the application process and things like that, what about the city? How do you like Plovdiv, and what are the things you can do there?
Oh, Plovdiv is absolutely amazing. The reason why I say it's amazing is because we get all 4 types of seasons there. So you get the winter, you get the summer, autumn, spring. So you experience that. And me as a British student coming from the UK, I don't really experience the different types of seasons. I always see rain, unfortunately. But coming to Bulgaria, I love the city because everything's close by. Going from one shop market to another, or from my home to going for grocery shopping is quite close. It's all walking distance, maximum 10-minute walking. The university is very nice as well. When we're talking about the city, we have a place called the Old Town, or Kapana, and it's got so many different restaurants. They cater to all type of people as well, vegetarian, halal food places. You want to go out to go for drinks, etc. So it caters for all. It's like a very nice vibe, a very olden style. You got the ancient theatre there, the ancient Roman theatre that's in Plovdiv. So it does give you like a very old vibe. and it's very nice as well.
Okay.
I do like that aspect of it. And then on the flip side, you've also got plenty of malls, like a lot of shopping there to be done.
Okay.
If if you have the money.
Well, yeah, to the budget and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of different types of mall. You know, you've got 3 different main malls that are quite big as well.
Yeah.
You have all sorts of shops there. You know, you're looking at New Look, Zara, IKEA, etc. So yeah, everything.
Okay.
What about you? What do you like about Riga?
Well, I can start off with, you mentioned you have Old Town. We also have a Old Town. It's called Riga. So it's kind of the same vibe. It's it's the historical center, I guess, of Riga. So there we also have the restaurants, the bars, and different places, shopping places as well. So different stores and all of those things. Apart from that, we have. So the city is very unique in my opinion because it's divided in 2 parts. So it's divided through with a river called the Daugava River. So one side is kind of like the center part, and then there's the Par Daugava, which is like the opposite side of the river, and that part. So the center part is more of the, I guess, the modern part of the city. So you have amazing architecture, you have castles, you have churches, you have, you name it, like an Art Nouveau area as well with unique architecture and things like that. And so if you're interested in, history and architecture, the center part of Riga is amazing. And also, like you mentioned, like with the shopping malls, we have a bunch of those. Restaurants, they're catering to different types of cuisines, and also a bunch of bars, for students or, just in general if you're into that. And then, also for things to do, like we have, cinemas, bowling, any type of activity you would like to do, there is in Riga. So it's full of opportunities, whether you're a student or not. It's just a good city in general. So that's the center part. Then the opposite side of the river, we have the Par Daugava. So that's where the university is, the main faculty of the medicine. And so that's usually where you are in your first 2 years. And you have your theoretical classes there, but I think we'll get into that a little bit later. But as for the city in general, I feel like it's a very well-rounded city with pretty affordable prices, considering its location and the way it's developed. So yeah.
Oh, that's very nice. Coming here and looking around myself, I do see a lot of similarities between Plovdiv and Riga.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of differences.
Okay.
So
like?
I find it very cold here.
Okay.
It's very cold. Me personally, I thought Plovdiv was cold as well, but coming here, it's actually really cold. So tell me a bit more about the weather in Riga.
Like you mentioned, we also have all 4 seasons. We have summer, winter, spring and autumn. The thing is here, like they come a bit later in the year. So, winter starts in December and goes on until like March. Then you have spring for like a week or something, and then starts summer, and then you have fall. So it's very interchangeable, the seasons, but in general, it is a bit colder because we are also on like a peninsula. Like Riga is in a peninsula, so we get like the Baltic Sea breeze coming into the city, and so it makes it a little bit colder than other places maybe. So I think this year we had maybe up to minus 23 degrees in winter, which is crazy. But if you're into snow and the cold, it's the best place for you. But to be honest, like also have to give Riga like props because the summer is really nice, and they make sure that during the summer days they plan out events and activities in the city. So whenever you go out in parks or anywhere, you can find flea markets, you can find a bunch of things like that, so you can get outside and do things in the sunny days that we have.
It's a funny thing that you mentioned that, because we actually have that in Plovdiv as well. In the summer, in the center, they also have what they call Kapana Fest.
Oh.
Yeah, so
okay.
the whole block is full of like shops and fun activities and everything, and they have it at a specific period of time. It lasts, I believe, like 2 weeks.
Okay.
But yeah, it's very fun. Like it's something that if I was to recommend coming to Plovdiv, is definitely come around that time, which is around the summertime. You would definitely enjoy the Kapana Fest because it's actually very nice.
Yeah.
And then in the winter they do like an ice skating rink.
Yes. I think we have something similar to that as well here. That's really fun.
Yeah.
But okay, maybe I should give Plovdiv a visit.
Definitely come down. It's the best city.
Okay, calm down. Okay, so going back into the academic part of this, how is like the course structured in Plovdiv?
The course structure in Plovdiv is actually, the way it goes is in the first 2 years, it's mainly very theoretical. So they try to bridge the gap and the subjects that you've done in high school as well. So, you know, you do your biology, chemistry, you start off with anatomy in first year, learn about histology, cytology, embryology, that's added into like the new things. So the first year is a bit more like relaxed, and they introduce 2-3 new subjects compared to the subjects that you've done before in your high school or A-levels. But the best one, I believe anyways, that they introduce is as a dentist is prosthetics. So you start learning about the different the teeth and etc. And then if you're a medic, you're gonna say it's anatomy. So you know, you're learning about anatomy and the whole body, what it entails and everything. And then from third year onwards, I know that the medics start going into the hospitals more, so it becomes more clinical. So we start seeing patients in their lessons. And for dentists, we're still in pre-clinics in third year, but in fourth year, we start going into clinics where we start working on patients. But in third year, that's when we start working on phantom heads, and learning the different procedures through the extracted teeth, plastic teeth, just so that we know the whole process before we start working on patients.
Of course.
Yes, and then your fourth and fifth year is your clinical years, and your last year is your clinical rotation year. So for medics, it's actually you'll have a rotation. And then a state exam at the end of it, and then another rotation and a state exam at the end of it. Yes, and then for dentist, it's a whole different story where you do a whole 4 or 5 months of your rotation, and then in May, June, July, you'll have your exams.
So like a big one?
Like you'll have all the core subjects. So there's 6 exams that you need to give in May, June, July. So in your 6th year, you also have to do your clinical case, where you get a patient and that fits into 2 or 3 departments. You do like the whole treatment plan, diagnosis, presenting it, and what you did. So that's also.
So you have to find your own patient for that, or
yes.
does the university?
What about you? How is? Tell me about the course structure in Riga.
So for Riga, it's pretty much the same. We also have like the first 2 years are purely theoretical, where you just go through like the theory part, so like you mentioned, like biology, chemistry, physics, and all of those things. And then they also introduce anatomy, histology, and also physiology. I think now they started introducing that also in the beginning. So it's just learning about the theory, and then slowly, once you gain more knowledge, you can delve more into the more clinical topics. So I think third year is a bridge where you have theory-based classes and then also a few practical or clinical-based classes as well, or courses. So that's like the bridge year, the third one, and then from fourth year on, you have purely clinical courses. So then you have nephrology, you have cardiology, neurology, etc., etc. So there's a bunch of different courses that way. And the good thing I find is that from the fourth year on, when you have the clinical courses, you only have that course for a certain amount of weeks, and then you go on to the next. Whereas in the first 2 years, when it's theory, you have a bunch of classes stacked on each other. I think it's just so they can cram as much theory into you in the beginning as possible. But then, as you learn more, you have less and less courses, and you can focus. So in the higher years, you can focus just on one course and then move on to the next. Personally, I think that was better, because I can like focus on one thing and then move on to the next instead of having like 5 different classes like in my head. It was crazy. But so the structure is pretty much the same. And then for the 6th year, you have it's divided. So you have 1 semester in the 6th year is internship. So you do your rotations. So you have 3 different departments. So surgery, internal medicine, and then 1 elective one that you can choose on your own. And then the second part of the 6th year is the state exam and the thesis and all of those things. So you will basically study for the state exam, which involves all of the courses that you had for the past 6 years, and then you also write your thesis and defend it and all of that within the last semester. yeah, so the state exam is basically, it's also divided into like 3 parts. You have the theory part, and then like a manipulations where you do different like procedures like injections, drawing blood, etc. And then the last one is a patient case where you kind of, you get a patient and you have to kind of do the anamnesis, diagnosis, treatment plan, and then kind of present it to a board of doctors and then defend yourself why you chose this diagnosis and why you think this is
the diagnosis.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So that's basically how it goes, and it's pretty straightforward, I would say. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. I do find a lot of similarities in there, but there's a bit of differences as well.
Yeah, there are. But I think in general medicine is like, I think it makes more sense to do like theory and then you start into clinical because otherwise kind of doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. I understand that. What's the cost of living in Riga?
Okay. So, cost of living in Riga, it really depends on what kind of lifestyle you have. So if you want a more relaxed, like, don't have to worry about money kind of situation, then you can go up to like 800 per month, which even I think is like a stretch. Like you don't even need that much usually.
800 pounds?
Euros.
Wow,
sorry.
okay.
Yeah. So in Riga we have euros. So 800 euros per month is like the approximate amount if you want a really relaxed life. But you can get by with like 500 as well, 400-500, depending on your living situation, how much you spend on money, how much you. Like what kind of leisure activities you want to do, things like that. So it really depends on the lifestyle you really are living. And then also for Riga in general, as a student, you have a lot of like student discounts and you have options to save money if you would like. So you can get by pretty easily, I would say.
How much do you pay for rent, for accommodation, etc.?
So it really depends. Like I know people who live in like a shared student dorm where they pay from like 300 up to 400, 450 euros. And then if you live in like an apartment, a studio apartment, it can go 400-500 up to 600 euros per month. Or if you live in a shared apartment, it could be very varied because it depends on how big the apartment is and how many you share with. But it could be like, I guess 300 to also like 600, but 600 is like very on the high end side in a shared apartment. That's like very rare. But then on top of that, you also have utility bills, so like electricity, water, heating, etc. So in the summer it can go from 50 to 70 euros up to 150-200 euros in the winter. So it really depends. But I don't know, how is it for you in Plovdiv?
It's very similar, but the prices are a bit more cheaper.
Really?
Yeah, so a 1-bedroom apartment, with everything furnished and everything, you're looking at around like, from 350 to 500 euros.
What? Like, is that in the center or like outside of
the
center?
Like right next to the university, 2-minute walk. Yeah, exactly. So it is quite cheap, but obviously, again, the 500 euro apartments, you're looking at the luxury ends, and then the 350 are good, like they're very good.
Okay.
I'm paying 350, and I've got a very nice apartment. So, again, like you mentioned, you got the different types of apartments, right? You've got a 1-bedroom apartment, you can also get a 2-bedroom apartment and share it with someone, and the studio apartments available as well. Okay. So, each of the prices do vary. So a studio could be from like 270 euros or 250 euros to 300 euros. So that's what a studio apartment will get you.
Does that include like utilities as well? Or
some of them do. Okay. Some of them don't. Even if you have to pay utilities, it's not that much either. You're looking at around 50 euros per month. So that includes like electricity and water, but that depends on you as well, how much you use. It does vary again seasonal wise as well. So in the winter it does get cold, so AC is your best friend. So it does go up a bit. You're looking at 60 euros per month. Then in the summer it does also go up as well, because of how hot it gets. It gets to like 40 degrees.
What?
Yes, 38-40 degrees in the summer. So it does get very hot.
What, in Europe?
Yes, it does. Yeah, exactly. But so I told you, I love Plovdiv. It's very nice and hot. But like I was saying, it does get a bit expensive in the summer and the winter. But it's still relatively cheap. Tell me more about the groceries. How much does that cost?
Again, it's very on your own lifestyle and like how much you spend. It's very, I think like your student life in general just really depends on how you are used to living and how you want to live your student life. But in general, grocery costs are not that expensive. I mean, you can go from like 30 to 40 euros per week up to like, 70, 80, depending on what foods you eat and how much you eat, really. So like in general, costs are very, very affordable for food and for drinks and everything. And also going out to eat and things like that in Riga is pretty affordable. Again, depends on where you go. High-end places obviously going to cost more, but in general, like a normal meal outside could be from like 10 to 20 euros per person, and I think that's pretty okay.
Yeah, it's decent.
Yeah, but what about you? Like,
so in Plovdiv, it's actually, I would say like per month, you're looking at 200 euros.
okay.
For your grocery shopping, your travel expenses, along with your rent. That it doesn't include your rent, obviously. So you're looking at like from 200 euros to 300 euros per month.
Okay.
But that depends on you again, like as a person, how
so that's
frivolously
like
you
all,
spend.
you mean like with everything you do?
No.
Just
so
for the food?
just for like grocery and traveling, etc. But not rent. Rent, like like I said, it was like around 350 to 400 euros.
Yeah.
But on average, just living cost, I would say it costs about 200 to 300 euros per month.
I feel like that's okay.
Yeah, there's obviously other people that like to live a lavish life. So you can spend up to 500 euros per month. But if as a student, you want to cut cost and etc. So 200 to 300 euros is practically enough.
Okay, that's pretty good. But how is like the public transport system in there?
The public transport system in Bulgaria, a lot of depends on where you are. Like, so I'm in Plovdiv. We don't have any trams or anything like that.
Okay.
So the main transport is through taxis and buses. So in buses, you pay 1 lev, which is around.
Wait, lev? Is that
lev,
your currency?
That's the currency. Bulgarian levs is the currency in Bulgaria.
All right.
So you pay 1 lev, which is 50 cents, and you go from anywhere in the city. So you could go from one end to the other end, and it costs you 1 lev.
Is that like student price or like a...
No, that's everyday price. And the taxis, they tend to range around 5 levs. So you're looking at 2 euros and 50 cents.
Yeah.
So it's very cheap. But like I said earlier, Plovdiv is it's the second largest city in Bulgaria, but it's quite small as well. So everything's within walking distance.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So from the university where a majority of our students live, the grocery stores like your Lidl or a place that they call Kaufland, it's about a 15-minute walk from the university. Okay. So it's not that far, so you can actually go walk it to the grocery store, walk it back. So like I said, everything's within walking distance, especially from the place where a lot of university students live. So on one side you've got the shopping centers, everything, and then on the other side you've got the center, and that's also another like 15-20 minute walk as well.
Nice.
So like where the university is located and where all the university students live, we're bang in the middle. So from both sides
that's
we can
really
go
nice.
to. Yeah, it's very
that's
nice.
really cool. It's similar in Riga because the thing is we also have. If you live in the center, everything is also very much walking distance. If you live on the other side of the river, it could be a little bit harder, but Riga has a really good public transport system. So because we have buses, trolley buses, trams, and then taxis. Yeah, so you can like get around the city very, very easily, and it's only like 12 euros per month as a student. So yeah, and it lasts the whole month, and you can go on any transport mode you want, and get you from A to B in like 10 minutes. So if you live on the other side of the city of the river, it can take you like 10 minutes to get to the center, and you're there. You have everything you need. But then we also have like a bunch of like big grocery stores scattered around the city. So in any corner you will find like a Lidl, or we have Rimi, which is like the big one, and then another called Maxima. So there are a bunch of big grocery stores where you can buy your food, and everything is very close by. And then there are like the small corner shops that also have like food and basic necessities that you might need for whatever. So you have everything very close by, which I really like as well in Riga.
That's nice. So I do see the similarities between like quite closeness to a lot of things. Walking distance.
The only difference is like our medical faculty, like I mentioned, is like on the other side of the river, so it's not very in the center. But to be honest, I think that's good in a way, because I don't know, you kind of get out of the center a little bit, you get to see a little other parts of Riga. And the other thing is that our university has like different buildings all over like the city basically. So we go to different hospitals, we go to different buildings for our classes, whatever. So in that way you also kind of get to explore the city and you get to see like different parts, because we have like one hospital which is an hour away. Might sound far, but like on the way, like it's a very scenic route, like you go through the forest and everything, so it's really nice. So in that way you kind of and Riga, and I think Latvia in general, is very green. You have like forests, you have parks, you have a lot of like greenery, which I really appreciate, especially during like spring and summer when things are like starting to bloom, and then in this summer everything is, you know, blossoming, and it's just a nice vibe in general, I feel like. Talking about the city and things like that, how is it with the safety and things like that? Do you feel unsafe ever, or?
No, I've never felt unsafe. I've actually felt the safest, to be honest with you. The reason why I say that is because like I said before, we live around the university. So us students, international students, we all live around the university, and we tend to live in the same buildings. I would say like it's a dorm, but it's not the official university dorm. So like all the students live in that specific building, and wherever you go, you're always bound to bump into someone that you know, or an international student. So in that way, it feels like a community, or it feels like a family in that sense. That, you know, we always see each other. If anything goes wrong, you know, we're only like a door or a floor down from our friends. So in that sense, like, you know, safety-wise, no, I've never experienced anything. And to be honest with you, you know, Bulgarians are very friendly people. They're very nice. You know, when you start speaking Bulgarian to them, they get very happy. And they're very nice and very smiley people, bubbly people as well. So the safety-wise, Plovdiv is very nice.
So out of the center, like if you go to the outskirts, have you ever, like, is there any difference? Do you feel like it's a little bit more?
Like I said, Bulgarians are very nice and friendly people. So, you know, no matter where they're from in Plovdiv, whether they're from the university or from the center, they're all very nice people.
Well, that's nice.
So I wouldn't worry about any safety issues. Like, I've never experienced it myself personally. But yeah, it's very safe for me.
Well, that's nice.
For Plovdiv. And what about you?
So safety in Riga it's I think in overall it's very safe. Of course, there are certain parts that are a little bit more unsafe, and I guess especially as a girl, like maybe you should avoid at night. But in general, I feel like I've never really felt that I am scared for my life or anything like that. Latvians in general are very nice people. You might not see it at the first because they're very introverted and they don't like speak a lot. So you might just think they are rude or grumpy or whatever, but they're just very introverted and don't like talking first. But once you know, get through the outer shell, they're very, very lovely, genuine, warm people. So you really don't have anything to worry about. And I mean, I've been walking around at night, like over the bridge, you know, at like 4 a.m. and it's been fine, like alone, it's totally okay. So I don't think that you should be worried. Latvians can like stare sometimes, but I think it's mostly because they're very like curious about, you know, like, where are you from? What are you doing here? Things like that. So it's not really that they're judging you, it's just like, they're just very curious about you. So, but you know, I understand it can be misinterpreted as like, oh, they're judging me for being here, like, you know, especially if you're like a person of color or things like that. Like, it can be like, you feel a little bit out of place because I think most people in Latvia or in Riga are like Latvians. So not everyone is from Riga, like they come from the outskirts and things like that, but they're, you know, still Latvian at heart, you know, like in as a person. So when they see foreigners coming in, like they feel like, oh, like what brings you to Riga? Because it's such a like small country, so you wouldn't like, I guess more now there are more understanding of foreigners and because of studies and things like that. But I think in the beginning they were like, oh, foreigners, what are you doing in my city? Like, how did you hear about it, kind of a thing.
Like you said, it's small, innit? So they're curious to, okay, like what has brought you here in the first place?
Exactly, But overall, like they're very, very nice people, and usually sometimes they do actually come up to you and just ask you like, where are you from, what are you doing, and you just, you know, they're very kind, so I wouldn't have anything to worry about at all.
So tell me about the different number of international students you have at Riga.
This is one thing that I really like about Riga, is the fact that we have such a diverse amount of international students. So we have people from Sweden, Norway, Finland, Germany. We have a bunch from Germany, British students, Italian, Portuguese. Then we have also people from like Georgia, India, Pakistan, Uganda, South Africa, like all over, like basically everywhere, Australia, you know, Canada, everywhere. So I think that's the one thing I really like about Riga, is that people from everywhere really come and gather in our little city and make it like a nice international community. That's something I really, really enjoy. And I feel like the number has also steadily grown, so we have gotten more and more now, because when I started, of course, there were a lot, but not as much as there are now. And I think majority of people who come to Riga are like Swedish and Germans, but like I said, there are people from everywhere, like every corner you can find somebody from your country probably. So that's something I really, really enjoy, because then also, you know, they organize events together with their national groups and things like that. So you kind of can get to know people from other nationalities through these events and things like that. And I think it makes such a good experience, especially when you're abroad and away from your family, like to make this international family. So yeah, I really enjoy it, and I assume it's similar to you?
Yeah, no, it's pretty much the same, to be honest with you. We have UK students, we have Pakistani Indians, Greeks, Italians, Germans. We don't have Portuguese like you guys.
Oh, really?
Yes, but to be honest with you, like, you know, we have Spanish people, so speak the same kind of language anyways, but it's pretty much the same. But yeah, it is quite diverse. I would say there's a lot more British students there, to be honest with you, like they make up the big chunk. What about here in Riga? Do you guys have like a specific nationality that are more in number compared to
so I think, like I mentioned, Swedes and Germans are like, I think constitutes the biggest part, but then also we have like a big chunk from India, also from, you know, the UK. We also do get more and more students every year that come from the UK. But yeah, I would say like the four biggest ones would be like Swedish, German, British, and Indians.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same, to be honest, in Plovdiv as well, where we have a lot of British students, but nationality, ethnicity, I would say like a lot of Pakistani, British, Indian students.
But do you have a lot of people from outside of Europe as well?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
so
okay,
like we have people coming from the UAE as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
And Saudi Arabia, Pakistan and India itself, like, you know, they come from them countries as well. Yeah, the homeland, yes. You know, lastly, I just want to ask you a question. How have you found your 6 years studying here in Riga?
Oh, okay. How do I summarize this quickly? I think overall it's been a really good experience I've had. It's been a very rocky road, of course. I think that's for every medical student. But I think in general, like, it was very easy to, because like I mentioned, the courses are structured so you learn from the basics up until like the more advanced, you know. So because of its gradual progression, it made it easier for me to, you know, understand each subject more and more and better. And overall, I feel like I've had a very good experience, because they also involve you after, in the clinical years, you have a lot of, almost most of your classes are in the hospital, and you get to visit patients, you know, examine them, things like that. Of course, you have to learn Latvian, because not everyone speaks English, and so either you have your doctor as a translator, or you will have a Latvian course when you start, so you can use that a little bit as well. Even if it's broken, they appreciate your effort to try to talk to them, you know. But apart from that, it's been really good. Like, you know, it's a lot of self-studies and things that you have to, you know, account for yourself. But if you like keep at it and are very consistent with your work and dedicated to your work, I feel like you can really get through it easily. I mean, we'll find out how this last semester goes. I still have one last semester to do, but I think it should be okay, because you know, everyone is so supportive, and you kind of have that last, you know, sprint, and you feel like you see the finish line, so you kind of just want to finish. And I feel like it's gonna be a really, hopefully, smooth sailing from here on. But yeah, how has it been for you?
You know what, I'll take a word out from your mouth where you said it's been a rocky road. It's definitely been a rocky road, but I'll tell you this, I've loved it. You know, I've learned so much about myself. I've matured as a person.
That's true. Yeah.
I've also learned about different cultures. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
That's
like
actually so
I've
true.
learned about the different cultures.
Yeah.
So, I've learned a lot from the Greeks. I've learned a lot from the Germans, how to dress,
Yeah.
etc. So yes, I have learned a lot when
Okay.
it comes to that aspect of my life.
Yeah.
When you're talking about academics,
Yeah.
the amount of practical experience as a dentist or a dental student I have got is quite a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy about that. I'm very happy with the teaching that I've actually received so
Yeah.
far. Again, I've not finished yet. I've still got this year left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely enjoyed it, and I 100% recommend to go and study abroad.
Yeah.
If I had the chance to start all over again,
Yeah.
I would definitely do it again. Is that?
Oh really?
Yes.
Oh okay. Well, that's not me, but good for you. But something you mentioned that I really enjoyed was I forgot to mention about like the international aspect, how much you actually learn about other cultures and people,
so true,
and I think that itself has like made me grow as a person as well, because you really you learn from them and you kind of take it into your own personality. You grow as a person, and also living abroad and living alone for me has been like one of the greatest personal growth challenges that I've overcome, and I would do it again. I feel like that's the one thing I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. I've been surprised with myself as to
Yeah.
how much I've achieved. I've done
Exactly.
things and I've learned things that I never thought I would learn.
100%.
But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely I agree.
Yeah, overall, I do see a lot of differences and similarities between our universities.
Yeah.
But I still think Plovdiv is better.
Okay, I disagree, because Riga has everything and more that you can need as a student. It's cheaper. Well, in overall, as a may not be cheaper, but the student life is much richer, and to be honest, you will just have the best experience in Riga.
Come to Plovdiv.
Come to Riga.
Come to Plovdiv.
No, man. No, do that again.
Come to Plovdiv.
No, come to Riga. We have everything better and more.
Listen, I've seen both Plovdiv and Riga, and I say Plovdiv.
Yeah, but Riga is just better. Have you seen our architecture? Have you seen our food?
Have you seen Kapana?
Have you seen Riga?
I'm gonna stop you there. Kapana's best.
No,
Plovdiv's
Riga is best. You haven't seen
Weather is the best. Food is the best. That's it. End of Plovdiv.
What is food, like potatoes?
That's what you get here in Riga as well. You know what? It's cheaper. So there you go.
Okay, but the experience is better in Riga.
Did I say anything bad about Plovdiv experience? No. I've had the same experience as you have.
You've been here for what, 24 hours?
Yeah, we're only joking, guys. Obviously, it's a decision that you need to make yourself. Or the things that Mia and Hussein have talked about today will probably help you a lot in your decision making. And obviously, just keep in mind that it's our personal experiences within our respective cities. Each city has its ups and downs. So obviously, do your research. But I hope that the things that me and Hussein have talked about today is sufficient enough for you guys to make a right choice.
Yes. Thank you for watching.
Thank you. See you soon.